righty. Welcome to the Red Corner, Fightin Phillies Podcast, baby. Episode 1. I'm Devo. That's Slim. Bones, you guys know them. We are here less than a week after the Phillies funeral. 2024 NLDS. Boys, before we dive deeply into this, I want to hit you with 2 stats, and they're not good ones. Phillies team batting average, 186. Phillies bullpen, team ERA, 11.37. Both historically lows. Let's just dive right into, before we get into anything else, we'll talk about the show, the format. Let's just react to the NLDS first. Slim, thoughts?
Right off the bat, I think now everyone has come to the conclusion that the boom or bust at the plate approach does not work.
Yeah.
It does not work. It's funny to see Nick Castellanos have a big series, right, where we win one game and then the rest of the bats again go cold. So on that, I think from throughout the entire series, the biggest letdown again was the bats. And then after that, that puts the pressure everywhere else.
Right.
The starting pitching, if you said in the beginning of the year that Suarez and Wheeler both would be walking out with leads, I would have been happy with that. And that's going back to April. So, yeah, that's my big thing. And I'm happy we're catching up, but it seems like as a fan base and as a team, we're catching up a year too late.
I can see that. And before I kind of add on that, what is your kind of like instant reaction, Bones?
So instant reaction is not surprised.
Yeah.
By the way they played in the second half and the way the Mets played in the second half. And basically the book was out on the Phillies hitters from last year. And they just followed that method from last year. And it's not, yeah, like I said, it's not surprising. Just demoralizing because I really think they match up better with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And we should be playing right now.
Yeah, demoralizing.
Coming back to Philly.
Demoralizing is a proper word. And I feel like it's fun. Like you said, you're not surprised. Chris Slim said the same thing. It's since basically the midway point, the Phillies were an average baseball team after being a historically good baseball team. And then the Mets were basically the best team in baseball. So the fact that we did get handled shouldn't really surprise anyone. But I think the fan in all of us wanted it to go a different way.
Well, I'm not surprised with the results, but I'm surprised when we finally, against a team that doesn't walk, is top 5 in pitchers allowing walks. The Mets finally, we get back-to-back walks on them. We finally change up. We got Turner take a walk, you know, so he's on base, Schwarber's on base, and then we see Castellanos, or we see Harper 3 straight pitches. So I think all Philadelphia was surprised at that.
That infamous 6th inning at bat.
I still think Harper is, man, like when that happens, you start re-questioning everything. I had him up there with all the all-time great Phillies, Michael Jack Schmidt, anyone. I mean, personally,
Chase Utley,
Pete Rose passed away, but he was a gamer in that same kind of spirit, and then that would never happen. You know, you see Lindor still playing now. He was playing tonight. They're taking pitches, and then so even the basic fan who don't understand pitching nuances or tendencies or anything like that, your grandmom can tell that the ball's going to the outside, you know, and it's going to be a ball, and they're just swinging. And even before that, when Diaz came in before, how many balls did he actually throw? And we're just swinging.
That was so frustrating.
But it's unreal.
And they know it too. Like Turner said it in the post game press conference, like post series actually, that like they knew it was coming, but it's hard to not swing.
Yes, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, getting $30 million a year is not hard though for him. That's for sure. Because
I seen some stat this morning about like the game yesterday. I think it was like through like 6 or 7 innings. The Mets hitters or the Dodgers hitters faced like 85 pitches, and I think they only had like 6 swing and misses.
The
Wow.
Mets.
Yeah, yesterday against the Mets.
Oh, like you're
Against,
just contrasting what they were doing versus
Mets
what we were doing.
pitching.
Yeah.
And Harper had 9 swings and misses himself, and
That's unreal. That has to change. That it has to change. Like you said, it is hard to lay off, but you build that momentum first off in any situation. You know, when the guy's out the pen, all right, maybe take one. You know, the one thing is they all do love jumping out on these first pitches, but when you see Turner and Schwarber just get walked, then you got to sit there. You know, you got to at least take one. And we saw 6 straight. And like you said, granted, Castellanos hit it hard into a double play. Bad luck maybe there, but it's just like you said, it's tough to watch. You know,
It is. It's really tough to watch. And for me, the biggest takeaway from the NLDS is there can never be a time again in Phillies postseason where we have Rojas, Schwarber, and Turner 3 in a row because the streaky as streaky gets at times, and we need those. We need someone on base, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. Whoever was in the 8 or the 9 hole, it didn't work. It didn't work. And your best hitter, what I'm about to say might sound controversial, but your best hitter can't be Bryce Harper. He can't be your best pure hitter, and he's our best pure hitter right now, most likely. So you could argue with Castellanos like lately, which is crazy, but in
Turner
general,
has higher average, right?
yeah. But what I'm saying, like when the push comes to shove,
Right.
you know, Turner has not been the hitter that Harper is in the postseason for us.
And I know most people know this, but when we're in the midst of it all, we feel like Harper's a superhero, and he
Yeah.
is a tier or two below the top dudes. You know, if it's Judge and Ohani as tier one, you know, there's a few dudes I think after that, or even Witt or whomever you want to throw. I think Harper's probably closer to 20 to 30, right, than 15 to 10.
He might be. All right. So
yeah,
let's address the real elephant in the room. NLDS brutal. Uh, Topper, Rob Thompson, Philly skipper, after his 3rd year at the helm, postseason 3 straight times. The trend that I feel like is the easy comparison is the old 2008, 2009, 2000 the 2009, 2010, 2011 trend, right? Losing in the World Series, losing in the NLCS, losing in the NLDS. Here we are again.
mm-hmm.
So before we address that, Topper, where do you stand, Bones, on should he stay or should he go?
So I was actually thinking about this for a while, and then I was just driving in the car, and he's going to be. He's entering his final year of his contract. So they gave him an extension, 1 year extension last year.
Yeah.
So he'll be back as a lame duck manager. They got a press conference tomorrow. I wouldn't bring him back if on a 1 year deal. Like I think it's weird to do.
You wouldn't bring him back as a lame duck.
Yeah, like I think he should come back.
Yeah,
but I don't think he will come back.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So you think
I think they're going to get rid of him.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
because of that reason, just because of the 1 year deal left laying in on the lame duck manager.
Yeah, that's fair.
He should go. It's not his fault. It's
Right.
not his fault that the players didn't perform. It's not his fault. Like the players overperformed in the beginning of the year, like the bullpen, like the Strom, the Hoppen, and they're the ones that hurt you in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the hitters just in general. So I don't know if they need a different voice.
Okay, I got you. So you would keep them back, but under the circumstances, you don't think they're going to. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Slim?
On the opposite, I would like to see them go, but I'm afraid we're going to be keeping them.
Do you think we extend them or lame duck?
Lame duck. I wouldn't
Okay.
extend him. There's no way. I'll give him the 1 year and then just see how it goes from there. It's no big deal. You can fire him mid-year and bring someone in, just like what we did with Girardi.
Right.
I say that often because I don't know who's out there. There's the
Right.
only names that I quickly search. I mean, that
Francona just was hired to the Reds. No, the Reds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the one guy, and I think he just got fired, is Freddie Gonzalez. Like, there's no one out there. With that said, Thompson looked like a genius going into game 3, right? He had the Sanchez start. Everything was working his way. He was setting up for Nola. And then again, we see the approach aspect. We see the lame duck Thompson aspect. With a lot of that happening where he's just sitting there watching and digesting the game almost as a casual fan.
Yeah.
That's what we saw after we got off to the hot start. Bones, when we get off to the hot start, the manager should be able to buy us another couple weeks of rah-rah momentum, I would assume. But instead, we plateaued pretty hard. And he didn't at any point really get it going. When Schwarber went down, when Harper went down in the summertime.
Real Muto went down. That's the one thing this team, I'm glad they didn't smack us in the face with that. They really did have a lot of injuries this year.
And they all seem to come at the same time.
Yes, yeah. Like there was a lot of meaningful injuries this year with this team. Again, no one wants to hear that because of where we're at in the process. But all right, Slim. So you're the opposite. You're saying that you would can him, but you think that they are going to bring him back because of all the fuzzy wuzzy stuff with Harper kind of being the AGM as the running headline joke is right now, right?
Well, I think more so there's no one to replace him with. That whole argument. I know
I think
it happens every time there's a coaching search, but this time I think it rings true.
I think there's a lot of guys to replace with, like a lot of bench coaches out there, like that we don't really hear about.
Right. That's the thing. No one I could find, so it would have to be another. I don't know who, but now you're talking about this guy coming in and managing, like we said, the egos. That's where the Harper GM aspect comes into it. You're right. When it comes down to hiring, because when Harper's invested that much, he's going to have some kind of say. I know a lot of people's first moves. Rhea Hughes in the morning said her first move is that Harper gets demoted, just a player. I think you can do that. I think you can do that, but when you hired a manager, he should be a part of that process since his commitment to this city, etc. Because I don't think we're ever going to move him and vice versa. So that's, you know what I'm saying. So I do think
you're saying that you're saying Bryce should be a part of the process
of hiring a manager. Absolutely,
right?
I would say so.
Yeah.
When it comes to getting Turner, getting Castellanos, Schwarber, like you can definitely look at our team, and our team has a certain feel, and it's that boomer bust feel. It's that softball style feel.
Right.
I think we can mix that up for sure. Absolutely. I think one way, if we could get a manager, I would like. I don't know who else. I would like to get a fiery manager in here. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm somewhere in the middle as well. I'm with that. I don't think they're going to let him go. No, actually, Adam thought they are. I don't think so. I'm with you, Slim. I do not think they're going to let him go, and the reason is I think the whole lame duck thing is going to be good for both parties. If you remember, Thompson was considering hanging it up anyway a couple of years ago, right? So he was kind of right. So that means he was already looking ahead. So I think the 1 year deal might be perfect for both parties. If the Phillies go and win the World Series and Thompson's like, I want to run it back, or if it doesn't happen and he just says, hey, maybe it's time for me to kind of go my separate ways, I think you fire Topper, it sends the message that the players got him fired. And I think that would really, a lot of the veterans would not like that. And look, Real Muto, Real Muto, Turner, Harper, you know that they're Schwarber, their voices matter, right? And they're here. So that's where I'm at with him. All right, cool. So
before we move on,
hit me.
if we get a new manager, this would be Bryce Harper's 8th manager in 11 seasons.
Wow. Grim Reaper.
I got two things that I just realized recently.
Yeah.
I hope I can remember in a second. But the first is Thompson's a layover, not from Girardi, but from Gabe Kapler.
Yeah.
The second thing, what was my second thing?
That is a nice little unknown fact because a lot of people associate with him with the
Girardi.
Yankees
Yeah.
and Girardi, but they don't realize that he was actually carried over from Gabe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the other one, so let's move on.
Cool. So, I just wanted to transition to like State of the Union, right? So, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, I personally think the lazy comparison, although you have to just state the elephant in the room, it's the exact same 3-year trend. But remember, in 2011, when we had arguably the best team we've ever had in our franchise history, we had the completely let down in the first round to the Cardinals. Then we had an 11-year drought after that, right? So that's where the organization was. So do we all agree that we're not there right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So where do you see this going? So as far as, let's do a quick State of the Union. Where do you think we're at as far as the, general trajectory? And then we'll talk about some more specifics.
I think we're going to be competitive for years to come.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
3 years for sure. We should be within either winning the division or being in the wild card, which we see sometimes can have its benefits. I think we're getting seasoned. I think there's guys we're gonna have to keep on the team, on the train. We're gonna have to move some seats around, and we're gonna have to get rid of some people. It's hard. What stinks is too often decisions come down, and baseball it shouldn't have to come down to this.
Yeah.
Too often decision comes down to who has team friendly deals and who doesn't, and then often you're moving people with these friendly deals. Sometimes warrant, and then oftentimes it's not.
That will be a good point when we're kind of going into the specifics later. Like those team-friendly deals are going to be really interesting for us.
But I think,
I
think we still have good starting pitching. Our farm looks better than it has in those. During those dire years, that 11-year drought, we were terrible, and our farm was terrible.
Yeah.
So it seems that we've beefed that aspect of our organization up. Hopefully, with the people we have in the front office, that they're building this to last long term. Hopefully, it's not like I think with those Utley years, it's kind of like the pig got fat, they rode it out, and they were happy to ride fan enthusiasm to the ground, And we kind of hung around and watched the Phillies probably a year or two too long due to 08 to 11 or so. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep. What about you, Adam?
So I think we're set up pretty well. Our 4 pitchers, we got Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, who signed the extension, and Suarez, who will probably get one, I'm assuming.
Right.
Like, he's still controllable, but I think we can give him a deal. And then Painter coming up, he should be pitching. He'll probably be our 5th.
Yeah.
He'll be ready.
Which, finally. I mean, based upon everything we've heard about this guy, top 30, top 25 prospect. He's throwing 100 miles an hour right now in the Arizona League. That's exciting. To watch him. I think that'll get a lot of, hardcores like us. That alone will get us juiced up for next year.
I think it's going to get us. I think it might take. I don't think he's going to be there opening day.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's still only 21, right?
He's young.
So he's young, and they might try to, give him more time, bring him up when needed. Well, I'm not sure, but I would say he's not there opening day.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised one way or the other. All right, that in mind, you mentioned Andrew Painter. So this year, the blame game was getting played a lot, right? Like it always does in losses. So let's start playing the blame game. The biggest issues were the left side of the outfield, so left field and center field, right? With the production we got from that was non-existent in the NLDS. And then we had all those issues going on at third base, which I'll let you guys expand on. So simple as that. Slim, where are you at with left field, center field next year?
So going in, I think Boone's here to stay because he has a nice contract. So I think that's your third baseman next year.
Okay, so you're starting with third baseman. Got it.
Yep. In left field, man, I don't know because you really don't want to have Marsh out there.
Yeah. So the Vegas favorite is right now is probably a platoon with Marsh and Hayes, right? I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but they're on our team right now. So unless there's a move of some sort, that would probably be what it would be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a move. I think the odd man out is going to end up being Stott.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think that Stott's a plus.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be gone.
Okay.
We can move Sosa to second base, and then we can maybe find a left fielder because we did a horrendous job getting paid. That dude, I mean, he just wasn't performing at all.
We got to scan the kidneys of these guys we're trading for.
Marsh, I'm not sure who wants the 3-for-1 Stott Marsh Hayes deal. Put that in the trade block in the MLB.
Yeah.
And see what the returns are. Because at this point, get something new in, develop it. Again, with the contract, Stott, I'm guessing, does he have a team-friendly deal? So that might be something they want to. That's probably somebody they want to hold on to. But I don't know who else they're moving because I can't see what's the Castellanos return would be. I believe very low, and just wreck. I don't know how that would look. But with that being said, I think he has to be not starting 162 games in right field. For instance, if you're watching the Mets tonight, they have Harrison Bader late in games, center field. Their left fielder is, or their right fielder is Tyrone Taylor. You might remember Tyrone Taylor throwing out Bone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they have dudes that make such plays. So we can't be having Castellanos out there. You know, we need someone who is dynamic and can make a play with his arm. I don't know where you move him, though. I don't know what you do there because we're stuck with I look at it as we have three shortstops. We have Turner. Maybe he goes out to right field, or maybe he can go to left field. We have Turner, Stott, Sosa, and then we got three DHs: Schwartz, Castellanos, and Harper. Out of those six players, which one's the easiest one to move? It's Stott, right?
So, I mean, a lot going on there. So,
right.
Yeah. So, no, so, all right. So, we'll table that for now.
Take it from there.
So, Bones, starting with left field and center field. And by the way, I have some fun with this, guys. Like you did, Chris. I know this is an unfair question. No one has the crystal ball. Like, do you think it's going to be Rojas, or do you think it's going to be somebody else? If you have a name, have fun.
Left field. He has to play. If he's going to be out there, he has to be in center field.
I said center field.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Rojas thing has to end.
Yeah.
Like there's literally getting no production, and then sadly we're going to be stuck with Hayes. I think that's going to be Hayes platoon. I don't know if it's going to be with Marsh, most likely, but it probably will. But maybe that guy can see a walk in 162 with us next year. He's in it in the games he did play with us. But yeah, I think that they got to get rid of Sosa or Rojas, and maybe like Chris said, shift turn to the outfield. He played the outfield before.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a fun.
That's probably the easiest on team move to do.
Yeah.
But then they got to. I don't think Sosa is an everyday player, so they would have to replace the shortstop role. Maybe put Bone back there, or not Bone, Stott back there. But yeah, I think Bone is the odd man out to be traded. We'll talk about that in the future.
Well, it's
Okay.
fun. You say Bohm, I'm saying Stott. They both got the good deals.
Yeah, Stott's actually older than probably
And Stott doesn't
27.
seem like he can hit it all, right? That's that. Stott and Marsh seem like they can't hit it all, in my opinion.
Well,
Stott
so
I just think
I
he was having like a down year, like a sophomore slump type thing.
yeah.
who's that? Stott.
Stott, yeah.
I got it last year. I got in a couple of arguments on Twitter, really, really promoting Stott versus some Yankee fans, right? And Stott is making me look like a dumbass this season. He made me look like a
Stott,
dumbass all year. And we had a friend who was on Stott's case all year, and really just watching him more, it's like, yeah, man, he's great on defense. Great, love him second base.
yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't seem like you can expect him to get hits.
But I was actually with Shane on that. There was times where I think Topper should just let him go. It was hard to break out of a slump. And what was it? Game 2 going into game 3, or game 1 into 2.
Game 1 into 2.
Game 2 into 3.
I know you're right. You're right.
I
Because
think
it was after the win. It was after
versus
the win.
lefty.
Yeah, because they had the triple.
Like,
that was unbelievable.
If he's going to be your second baseman of the future, why is he platooning?
Yeah.
He's not that good. That's why. That's your answer. That's why he's the odd man out. Trade him now while he has value, perhaps, would be my argument. Because I think his value is going to go.
But that's why I think Bohm should be the one trade, because his value is sky high right now.
Right. Right. Boom. I would say he's definitely better than Stott. Would definitely bring in more. I would rather keep the better guy. I think Boom might have some. I think Boom does good things. Stott right now doesn't seem like he can do much at the plate for me. I know he had that big triple, but that's not enough for me.
Yeah, the year over year, like going into the offseason, I felt like the guy that we were most excited about was Stott, to see like that progression he make, and it didn't happen, unfortunately. Um, I completely agree. Bohm has a lot of value. I mean, he was one of the best players in the league for what, 2.5 months, like up near the top in doubles in the league. We saw the show he put on at the home run derby, so I gave him a little bit of national spotlight. Like, it's a shame what happened to him this year. But the other guy, and believe it or not, I think Rojas has a lot more value than you think. Reason being, he's only 23.
Yeah.
So he's only 23 years old, which is crazy to even think about that. And he's under a very friendly deal until like 2030.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to keep in mind of his age, and because you would think he's only going to get better. So all right, great. So we hit on the main holes to plug in. Any other kind of positional changes that you want? Look, we're going to get news throughout the year, in the off season, but any other changes you want to talk about before we wrap things up, and then we'll kind of let the audience know about what to expect in the future?
It's hard to say. There's a lot of moving parts. My approach would be, even though I just complained about the bats, is I would look at every position
Mm-hmm.
in the field and make sure that position is a true plus at its position. Meaning in the NL, their top 3 to 5 at their position, right?
Yeah.
And that's across the board. That's hard to do. That's going to take. We have some really good parts. Meaning Turner's a good part. Bone can be a good part. Sosa can be a decent part. But they're going to have to play certain roles for sure, and that's where it gets tricky.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think JT's got to take a step back,
Ooh.
because he's god awful. What was he, 0 for 11? And last year he wasn't good in the postseason. He played less games this year because of injury, but
Right.
um,
He didn't look comfortable. Like when you know how you could just feel the energy of a batter when you're watching? That energy did not feel good for him.
he looked like completely lost.
Yeah.
Like
he did.
So Marchand, he's out of
He looked good this year,
options.
though.
Martian's out of minor league options, so Stott or not Stott,
I know.
Stubbs, he's
Yeah,
got to go
Stubbs.
and
Yeah.
just have Martian as the backup, and then let him go after JT's done after this year or after next year because I want to give him another deal either.
Yeah. Stubbs is catching a lot of strays. It's funny. Like the guy didn't even play. Everyone's just like,
Yeah.
we're done. We're done with Stubbs. Like the nicest guy in the world.
Well,
He
that
was
was the thing. Like
No, but I'm with you. It's
at
time
the
for
at the deadline, it was like Marchand was hot.
yeah.
Like when JT came up, like he was playing good, but he was the odd man out because Stubbs was a great locker room guy. They didn't want to mess up
Right.
chemistry.
Yeah, if Stubbs is the team vibe, you got to change the team's vibe. So Stubbs has to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. I think we're all ready to mutual parting of ways with Stubbs. JT, that one hurts. You know, it's tough. He's plays the most demanding physical position, and he's played it for a long time at a high level. So to see a step down is going to happen.
And that's the other thing with having, like Chris said, three DHs basically.
Yeah,
Like you
Right.
can't even like put them somewhere.
yeah. I really think this offseason's funky, man. Like there's some smart people that think maybe putting Harper back in the outfield makes the most sense.
No way,
Like
huh?
I'm not saying
Yes, man.
I'm not saying I would do it, but when people are kind of thinking about, because think
Right.
about it, Bohm at first, Harper and wherever, right? Like you can do all this different stuff. It's all about the right guy, right? Like if we got insert shortstop that was no doubt about it, shortstop, Trey Turner, center field. You know what I mean? Like so, it's all just depends on this scenario. Um, but awesome. So I'm gonna give you both some opportunity for some closing thoughts. But we hit a lot, and then I'll kind of just do a quick wrap up.
Yeah. So
Slim.
so closing thoughts going into this off season. I'm fine. I don't like it, but we're fine with Topper coming back.
Yeah.
Middleton, it's time to seriously uh, enforce defense. When you do enforce defense, that batting approach is naturally going to come and be more balanced and more patient. So we got to make sure we have true pluses across the board. We have multiple pieces we can mix, and match, and that does maybe require bringing in a star,
Mm-hmm.
right, to reset the table a little bit here and allowing us to maybe move some pieces and then move some pieces to a new team and move pieces on our own team. And then going into next year, being ready to make a mid-season move. I am ready. We can ride Realmuto all early on, and then we can make another move to where Realmuto now is on the bench and is platooning for the second half of the year with someone who's equal caliber or maybe a better bat, but maybe someone that brings something to the table that we didn't have the first half of the year. We can't be whiffing. So this offseason, I'm looking at a big time acquisition, maybe in the left field, maybe Hernandez from the Dodgers,
Yeah.
maybe Santander from the Orioles. There's other names. I'm not going to say the biggest because
We'll
I don't
talk
think
about that. I mean, we have a full off season in front of us, so
right.
we'll dive all into that.
I see us with four strong starters, so I'm looking for a fifth because I don't think it's Painter next year. I don't think it's Walker next year. And I'm looking for a closer, a true closer, not any kind of platoon. Again, someone who can set the table.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at all the teams. What kind of players are they trying to get rid of that we can bring in? You know, I mean, it's their job. Like I shouldn't be doing it. It's their job.
Yeah.
So do your job.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm interested tomorrow with tomorrow's press conference. See what Dombrowski and Thompson have to say, and that will give me like better judgment of what's going to happen going forward.
Yeah.
For the rest of the off season.
Yeah, great. All right. So first of all, to our listeners here, thank you. And you are a day one. So we're hoping this podcast is just kind of like a fun listen for you. The way we're describing it is We're going to do a weekly Phillies podcast plus one-off reactions and stuff pops off. Like if 2 days from now, if Rob Thompson gets axed 2 days from now, we're going to jump on and we're going to react to that, right? That's an example of something where we'll jump on off our schedule. But normally we're going to do a weekly podcast where it can be just a fun listen for you guys and also get caught up on all things Phillies from a weekly basis. We will have some fun segments. Adam is a big trivia guy. And by the way, Adam equals Bones, Chris equals Slim. So you're going to hear both of those names get interchanged a lot. But yeah, so thank you very much for being a day one listener. The show will be evolving as we go along. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, everything, Substack. We're going to be boosting the socials. But thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Before we go,
hit me.
Is it Devo or Devo?
Whatever's easier for you to say. I feel like you say Devo and Devo, a little bit of both.
Yeah, I was shocked when you said Devo to start.
Yeah. Did I say that, or did Chris say that?
You did.
Did I? All right. Yeah. Well.
Also, before we go, I got to this day in Phillies history.
This has been smooth. All right, great. We have do it. Hit us.
So this date in Phillies history, 1884.
Wow.
The start of the 1884 City Championship saw the Phillies defeat the A's 6-4 at Jefferson Street grounds.
Wow.
That was a year after the Phillies started. Jacqueline's started in 1884 too, by the way. And 1887, 7-run, 6th-inning earns the Athletics 11-6 victory over the Phillies in the City Championship Series. So I don't know when the World Series even started.
Sounds like I'm not going to say it.
And then a more recent one, 2022, Phillies tagged Spencer Strider for 5 runs in the 3rd inning. I'm assuming that's the bat spike game.
Yes, that is. That's the Reese bat spike. Awesome. Yeah, so this will be a segment. We're gonna have some on this days. We're gonna have some trivias. We're gonna have a lot of cool stuff. But thank you for being with us on our first go around here, and we will see you next week.
Or Thursday when Thompson gets fired.
That'd be great. I hope so.